Hey, what's up, guys? Happy to be back here with you again today. I wanted to talk a little bit about trying to figure out when it's right to take young players and put them up into your first team squad. Now, it's a little bit different here in my save because, as you know, I'm playing without any attributes, without any star ratings on. What I'll say first off, straight off the bat, is if you have a player who's like between 15 and 19 and he's gone up to 2 stars of current ability and you're seeing that 5-star potential ability, this is a player that you should put up to your first team and you should give first team time to for the most part, unless like something weird is going on, if they have like a really bad personality, if they're extremely inconsistent, stuff like that. As long as you're not seeing that, you're probably going to be okay with putting them up. Chances are that they're going to develop into a wonder kid like as soon as you give them a little bit of game time. But it's a little bit different if you can't see the star rating. So I'll just show you sort of like what it is that I do and what I use. I don't think that there's any right or wrong answer necessarily. I tend to use the development center from time to time. As you can see here, I have these little flags. These flags that are on players, these little yellow things, are because of things like inconsistency or having a unambitious personality, stuff like that I don't really want on my side. It doesn't mean that we're going to take Li Zhuo and not have him on the side, right? If you check this guy out, he's a first division standard player at age 15. This is the guy who probably has 2-star current ability or maybe even 2.5-star current ability. Normally I'd be like, yeah, put this guy into the first team. Fortunately, because we don't have star ratings, I can focus on some of these other things that are wrong with him, and I'm less likely to be totally like confused by this player that came through our youth system and think that he's better than he is. The goal with a player like this, because of that inconsistency and the awful personality, is to keep him on until he's 17 and just start loaning him out and try to make money off of him by loaning him out without ever giving him game time in the first team. You might wonder why I do that. Isn't that cruel and stuff? Couldn't we help his personality? Theoretically, we could, but I worry a lot about this guy becoming like an influential player and this lack of determination or ambition impacting other players, hurting the ambition overall in the squad. His unambitious also means that he doesn't have very good professionalism, and I worry about that also spreading. It's just not worth it. It's not worth, spending all of this time kind of like freaking out about and trying to figure out. So with that in mind, what do we do? How do we figure out like how to get these players in the squad, right? So if you watch today's match, we have this guy on the squad, Li Qiang, and I stuck him on, in the summer. The reason why I figured this out is because when I was looking through the squad planner, I'm not going to reset it all because it would take forever to go through everybody. I figured, okay, we have how many positions? These are the same. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different positions, right? I figure for each of these, I want like 3 players for every position. These that are kind of 2 positions together, we want 6. And for the striker, I actually allowed us to have a 7th one so we could put Li Qiang on. This is because Cheng Binbin was injured, right? So what I figured is, okay, we want to have like 6 strikers. We want to have like 3 on the left, 3 on the right. And I made the decision that I want to have guys who will specialize in one position or another as best as I possibly can. And because we can only have a maximum of 20 foreign players on the squad, none of whom are goaltenders, I figured, okay, well, you have what? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There you go. So you have 2 foreign players in each position. And then let's have one more. Let's have a Chinese player as well. So that's what I did to start things off. The way that I chose which foreign players to go through is I had the assistant tell me what the assistant thought our best players were, and then I organized it based on that and also based upon what I've seen and what I've experienced, and then decided to add on a couple Chinese players. Honestly, like for center back, as we're looking at right here, Torres would probably be at the bottom. I think that the 16-year-old Chen Jun is actually better than him and has a lot more potential than he does. Yan Kun, I know, is better than him probably today. And Mateus Lazzo also is another one I'm probably going to slot down. I've not been very impressed with his performances lately. That's the sort of thing that you're not going to know right away in your save, right? It's going to take you a little bit of time to figure that out and to play with the guys and know what's going on. Now, when it comes to figuring out these youngsters, though, right, the 16-year-old there, or guys like Li Min, the 17-year-old who I'd never tried before, Li Qiang, I'd never tried him before at all, right? I knew about Sandberg, but I'd never had tried him before this season either. Or you over here, we got 3 of them, Ding Yuqi, Shui Xiaopeng, and Shi Xu. They're all guys where I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a chance on them. What I did is I went over And I looked first of all at this personality, right? So you'll see not all of them have great personalities. We have one that's balanced. Jubin, we know, is a great player, but he's also balanced. It's not a great personality. But here we have a guy with a spirited personality, a guy who's resolute, fairly professional, means professionalism rating is high. Liang Shenjun is professional, which I really, really like. We want more players like that. And then a couple other spirited guys. And then, one who's fairly determined, right? That's one of the things that we're looking at, right? We want to look at that personality and do whatever it is that we can in our main squad to sort of slowly get rid of these guys who are like fairly determined, balanced, and so on, and instead replace those with guys who are professional, right? So I've shown this before, and I'm going to show it again. If we go back over here, where is it? Here it is. And we go look at the Wonder Kid Finder document that I've created. We'll go over to screen view again. And it's going to take a minute for LibreOffice to know what we're doing. The most important attributes in Football Manager for player development are professionalism, ambition, and determination. And we are looking for personalities that will try to have high ratings in all three. So, of course, perfectionist, model citizen, model professional are the key ones. Resolute is okay, but it's hard because we don't know about ambition. Maybe the ambition is not quite there. But in general, resolute tends to be good. And the ones that are acceptable are spirited, driven, very ambitious, mercenary, which you don't want too much of, fairly professional, and iron-willed. Every time, though, you want to make sure the determination, it doesn't show up on the scouting report saying that the player doesn't have much determination, right? You'll notice that determined, very determined, is not on here, right? The reason why is because it might have a high level of determination, but I want to know about ambition and professionalism as well. The thing that almost all of these, with the exception of iron-willed, have in common, and this should probably be taken off, the thing that all of these have in common is there's two, or sometimes more than two, of those three that are high. And you can also look at the media handling styles and make sure you get guys who are either evasive, reserved, or are a combination of the two. Now, so that's sort of the thing that we're looking at when we're trying to figure out, like, is this guy going to be good or not? But that's not the only thing we're looking at. The other thing we want to look at here is transfer value, right? So guys who you haven't played before are likely not going to have huge transfer values, but they might, right? And it might actually surprise you, right? So Jubin, we've played a lot. We know that he's going to be high. Shu has a transfer value from 140 to 1.4 million renminbi. And you have to be careful with it. You always have to go and take a look. The reason why it's high is because that's about what we paid to get him from Shanghai Shenxin. When you have a club like this one does, that has, the owner that's Mr. Moneybags, and you have tons and tons of money sitting around, you got to look out for stuff like that. Now, we're going to look into this is the under-19 side. It's going to take a second for the system to let me do anything because we have so many of these players. As you can see here, without me even going through and sorting this stuff, I guess it is sorted here by transfer value, we do have under-19 players. Here we go. We do have under-19 players who are worth a lot of money. Zhang Haiming, for example, this guy's 16 years old. From Kuitun, don't know where that is. I guess it's in Xinjiang. We got him from Xinjiang for 1 million renminbi. His transfer value is estimated at the 3 to 6.5 million range, right? This is a kid who's probably going to be a wonder kid. I don't like that personality that much, balanced. I'm like, meh. No youth caps, which is also not a great thing. But and no biography either. So he's missing some of those wonder kid signs. But having said that, that's interesting that he has that sort of salary or transfer value estimate range, despite the fact that he's never played a game of first-team football for any team anywhere, right? You have some of these guys, right? He probably is inconsistent. We have guys with low determination and stuff, but they do have these high transfer values. Now, what I'm saying here is you don't have to necessarily look at this and say, oh, this guy's got a high transfer value, we're definitely going to play him, right? The other things that come into the equation, but it's something you might want to pay attention to, right? Someone like Li Yue, I don't even know what position this guy plays. Okay, he plays on the right. He's going to be a attacking right winger for us. If we do bring him up, we might want to pay some attention to this guy. He's 16. He's professional. He's got a real high value. You see this right here, right? This is the media description of him. If it says young anything, that's usually a chance that he might be good. We paid 1.3 million renminbi for him. That might be part of why his value is high. But yeah, when you see that stuff, young this, young that, that's a sign that we might end up in the Wonder Kid category eventually. So that's one of those other things that you really kind of want to look into. And the final thing you want to look into and pay a little bit of attention to is whether or not they've actually had like youth caps or full out caps for a international side. So Kenji Tsukada has not. I think that Japan is all grayed out the way that Germany is, which is probably the reason why he hasn't. If we go back over here to our top team, you'll see that with a guy like Miguel Sandberg, this was something that was under consideration, right? He was playing already for the Taiwanese national team. I mean, he's only 21 now. If we go look at, let's see, his form, and we look under Chinese Taipei, right, we can see 1, 2, 3 starts for them. His form is awful for them, right? 6.1, 5.8, 6.0, and then was suspended for this match. Too many yellow cards, I guess, is what was going on. But despite that fact, the fact alone that he's on a national team is a pretty good sign. It's a sign that this is somebody who probably has a lot of potential and who probably has some good ability as a current player. I'll show you another one. Let's see if we can find a good one here. We just saw him, and let's see if I can figure him out. There he is, Gustafsson. He has not been a full international yet for Thailand, but he was capped at the under-23 level. And again, if we go take a look here at his form, I don't know if we can actually see it or not. No, we can't because he hasn't played for the under-23s in this save yet. But that's a pretty good sign. That's a sign that this is a player that is likely going to be good and will have some potential. He also has a biography, which is one of those other things you kind of want to look for. 22 years old, a lot of future on hand for this guy. The one other place you can look at, but don't always trust it, is over in that coach report. So if we look over at like Lee Chang, for example, over on the coach report, even though we have no stars and no attributes, we can figure out things about him, right? We can figure out that he is currently is a second division standard player. This means he's probably 1 or 1.5 stars is what I'm guessing. Could improve a lot, so he still has that potential. Young prospect, way off of first team level. We saw that in the last match. He didn't look like he belonged there or knew what he was doing. What we'll see is that he has good pace and good acceleration, right? We don't have to see the attributes to see that. His heading's not great. He's not great at aerial presence because his heading's not great. And there are a couple of other things he needs to improve. But this is kind of where you can look to have a sort of a quick sort of cheat sheet to see, okay, what is this guy generally good at? What is he generally bad at, right? Now, what's going to happen to you here in the end with your save as you move along is you're going to start to get to know your player as well. If you don't have, like, if you're not Moneybags owner type stuff, or you don't have the crazy transfer policies I have where I'm like, oh, you're young and I can get you for free, fine, I'll sign you. If you're not like that, then what you'll probably end up doing is having a smaller number of players, which will make it easier for you to get to know who the good ones are and the bad ones are. Usually the ones you'll know the best are the ones that you interact with frequently, and those are the ones that you'll end up making a lot of your decisions based around, right? So keep that in mind when you move forward. As time goes on, I would say probably when you're about a season to 2 seasons into your save, you'll have a good idea of what the players are and what their personalities really are like, and the players that you like and the players you're like, yeah, let's get rid of this guy, I don't want to have anything to do with him. That will help you out a lot as you move through the future, and that will help you eventually slowly develop a squad that is focused around the things that you want to focus on, and one that has constant young presence, so that you can get the young players you really want to play with into your squad at an early age. Anyway, there's a little bit of my advice, and that's kind of what I do and the approach that I take. Love to hear what your thoughts are, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.